Hello from Southern Ontario this rainy November 10th. So I just finished researching the closest penetration into the G20 nations. And something occurred to me I hadn't really put together before. In 2020, 2021, you know what I'm talking about, the global affair there. Barring the US, the leaders of the G7 nations were all WEF. That's right, Young Global Leaders graduates, including the President of the European Union and still current President, Ursula von der Leyen. Now, you have to appreciate the sway, the power that the European Union Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has over the 29 EU member nations. I mean, it's not just trade and economics. There are a lot of politics involved, migration, economics, etc. So it was the Western nations, almost exclusively, that bought and believed in the whole thing. You know what I'm talking about. Two cases in point. I have some friends in Mexico. Well, they own houses. Different people, couples, in Mexico. Now, they had to participate to get to Mexico. But when they got there, the natives, if you will, the Mexicans, were like, what? You know, face diapers? Staying apart? This? They were like, what? You're pulling the leg of my burro, gringo. I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have panda here, you know. And it wasn't on our mainstream media, but you may have seen it on social media at the time. Do you remember? I forget what African nation it was and what African leader. He held a press conference and he was up there at the podium. The cameras, everything were there. He had 3 tests. You know the test I mean. The 3-letter test. He tested a drop of water. Citrus? Was it grapefruit? I forget exactly. And something kind of weird. I don't know what the third one was. Something ridiculous like monkey earwax or camel dung or something. He tested all 3 of them. They tested positive. And he said, not buying what you're selling, Klaus. So now, while we see that, you know, at least 2 of the G7 countries, the Netherlands and Italy, their leaders are no longer WEF members. They've been replaced. Geert Wilders and Giorgia Meloni. But the ones who are buying the latest closest bill of goods, that being what we tax here in Canada, you know what I'm talking about. It has to do with the weather, right? And there are other countries that tax it, and they're all led by the WEF as well. There's a lot of countries in the world who are going, hey, we have scientists just as smart as anybody else, just as educated, just as informed, looking at the same data, and they're not buying what Klaus is selling. Just saying. Anyways, I got a film. I've done the research on the G20 nations. I found some really interesting stuff about China and Russia and the penetration of Klaus. I think I'll probably have to do 2 vids on China and 1 on Russia. And then probably a 3rd one tying them together. It's insightful and frightful. But I got to film the G20 one first.